There was one pimp, he put a knife on my throat because he said that I was saying the wrong words to him.
Sometimes like they would hold a gun to her head and that sort of thing. That's also way more usual. That is like emotional force, right? So it's like, I will do something to our daughter if you stop.
You're already looking in the mirror today because you're not worth it. €50 is way too expensive for you.
I'm in Amsterdam, where thanks to legal prostitution, buying sex is as easy as buying a coffee. The city makes millions of dollars, taxing the sex industry, and from the tourists that flock to the Red Light District to see the prostitutes on display in windows.
It's the one thing that everyone says when you think of Amsterdam straight away.
Tour guides paint a picture of safe, happy work. But that's just good marketing. Behind the scenes, human trafficking dominates, and most women struggle to survive.
50 to 80% is actually being forced to be there.
Of course, yes. There are many streets that are just ruled by pimps, you know?
Every day you have to make your rent. It's a game every day and a struggle.
In this video, I investigate what it's really like working behind the windows, how human trafficking works here, and what's being done to fix it. But first, I hit the Red Light District to ask tourists what they think.
Here to lose my virginity.
Oh, perfect. For real?
Yeah, actually.
For real?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like we just saw a stroller. Like it's more of a tourist thing than it is like a sex thing. It feels like, but
yeah.
It's family oriented almost.
It's my first time here, so it's not something you'd see in England.
Yeah.
And it is like certainly like you're taken back by what you see.
Amsterdam in general, to come here is nice, but the Red Light District offers something else that any other city doesn't offer. It's a nice tourist attraction like the Eiffel Tower.
What do you think to the women in the windows?
I kind of feel sorry.
You're sorry for them?
Yeah, I wouldn't go in it. But obviously it's their choice, I think.
That wasn't what I think of it.
Yeah.
Each to their own, do what you want.
It's a good thing, because in Italy we have girls in the streets. So we don't like it, because there's no control. I prefer this.
It was even embarrassing for me a little bit, so I can't imagine how it is for them. I don't know, I mean, it's weird to make an eye contact with someone that's dressed like the way they dress.
I think it's quite unusual. We don't have that from where we're from. I would condemn this, but it's an attraction of some sort, the same way maybe bullfighting is in Spain.
I'm more of a local, I guess you can say. Oh, it's very normal.
It's normal, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're ever down bad, you can just go to a street, you know, and get some pussy, you know?
Have you tried?
Oh, no. I'm never lacking in that department.
And so are you guys going to see some of the girls in the windows, or what's the feeling?
We've been here for 3 days and we looked, but we just keep walking past. We're not going in anyway.
Why is that?
Doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, no, I'm just lying. I'm gonna go in.
How do you feel about the girls in the window in general?
We talked to one. They were super nice.
Yeah, they're actually very like down-to-earth women that we talked to. They're all actually friends with each other. We found that out.
I wanted to find out from actual sex workers what it's like working behind the windows. First, I met Jesslin, who's been working in prostitution for 15 years. You know, what is it like the first time you go in the window? How does that come about, and how does it feel?
I know the first time for me, I was so afraid. I was afraid that some people noticed me, you know. I was very afraid for the other girl, because immediately when I come inside the building, girls look very angry on me. If you work there, you don't have friends. All your colleagues are enemies, because you want to have all the same clients, you know.
So competition.
Yes, very. Dus you treat each other like enemies, and also the clients there were very mean, you know, because they wanted to have the lowest price. Dus they gonna ask you how much it cost, and then you say to them very kindly, it's €50, and then I ask what I can get for €50.
Yeah, what does €50 get?
And then I say, you get to have a blowjob and sex in different position. And then they look at you. You're already looking in the mirror today because you're not worth it. €50 is way too expensive for you. And sometimes they say that a lot to you on one day. So they break down your confidence immediately because they all say you are ugly, dus let me fuck for 30.
Next, I met Chiela, an independent escort who loves her job and has tried various types of legal prostitution.
Window prostitution,
Yeah.
you know. I think it's nice.
Really?
Yeah, you can see all the people. You already know who is coming at you. But of course, you're never gonna know how they personally are. When you stand behind the window, you do not like a person. You just look angry. And maybe you're going to walk past you. Yeah, of course.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I will. What are the tricks? At first, when I was starting, I looked very serious, And lots of people just walked past me, and I was thinking, but I'm pretty, and why you do not want to go with me in the room? But then I was figuring out that because I looked so serious in front of my eyes, the clients who would kiss or try to do stuff without the condom, they already knew when they see me sitting here, no, this is not a girl who's going to do it. So I get, of course, the men who know what my priorities are because I was sitting like it, and that's when I get the good clients. And of course, I would be very nice. I would never push them. You have girls, you say, come here, come here. Yeah. You always let the client choose for himself.
Could you just talk us through like a typical day when you're working in the windows? Like, how does it work?
You come, you pay your rent. You have a day shift and an evening shift. Per shift, it depends in which building you work, but you pay between 110 and 150.
Okay.
Dus for the whole day, you can pay also 220 or 300. But first, when you come inside, you do your room. You make up your bed, you put your stuff, and then, you do your lingerie on and your makeup, and then the game begins. And it's the whole day trying to get clients inside. All the years I worked behind window, it was a battle. To make the rent, to can pay the tax bills. I had always a happy day if I had 15 clients. Then I had the rent and 500, but from that 500 you pay tax. So it's not so many money. People are always thinking that girls behind windows make a lot of money, but it isn't true. Yeah, they make, but what they can keep is not so much.
So this is
the bed. Her bed?
This is a bed where you would actually have sex?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
But it's just a single bed?
You have lots of, this is the small room. Lots of girls have just this room. So it's important to have a bed. It's important that the client can wash himself.
And it's just in a sink, not a shower?
When you have short time, so clients come for 20 to 30 minutes, they are not allowed to take a shower because it's taking too long and they will not have the time for it.
That's everywhere the same. It's very strange. It is a small bed. When the client asked me to sit on him, it was very difficult because where I have to had my legs or things like that because the bed is very small. Bed, yes.
I work always with a special towel that you put here. And every client I have, I will put it away and then I put a new one. So the sperm or something goes on there, or sweat, or no matter what, for every person it's clean. But lots of places do not do it.
I also spoke with experts to help me understand the reality of legal prostitution in the Netherlands better. Renate is a journalist that's investigated prostitution for 10 years.
The thing that happened in 2000 was that brothel keeping was legalized, making the brothel owners get a permit and sticking to all kinds of rules. And the idea behind it was really good. They thought, if we regulate it, we can control it. And there won't be any trafficking anymore.
And did you support that?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good idea. That we in Holland were doing a great job. That we were very modern, that our way of regulating prostitution was a fantastic approach. But the reality, of course, is that you can legalize a brothel and the brothel keeper can sort of stick to certain rules. But then behind the corner of the brothel, there can always be a pimp.
Elise works for Elroy, an organization that offers help and social care to women in prostitution.
The Dutch police actually did research and they say that from the window prostitution, so they're like 50 to 80% is actually being forced to be there.
And I thought, how do you survive? How can a woman survive being forced into prostitution?
All the girls that we see, they have trouble sleeping. They have like nightmares. They feel very unsafe in their own body. One of the girls was so severely traumatized that her hair keeps on falling out, you know? She's like almost bald. It looks like she has cancer, but really it's just like the stress of the job and stuff like that.
That's just from doing what's called her job.
Yeah.
I started with working in a shelter for trafficked women. And the stories I heard there, they were grueling. One human trafficker, one pimp, who told the woman that he was controlling that she needed like make 1,000 or 2,000, I don't remember, each weekend. And if she didn't, she had to get on all fours and he would beat her and call her a dog. After he was arrested, the prosecutor went into his house and they found dog food in the kitchen. But he didn't have a dog.
Frits runs Bright Fame, an organisation that helps get women out of prostitution.
They say around 96% of the girls has to do one or more times with violence. 96%. That's a lot.
That's in legal prostitution.
63% of the girls has traumas. When we walk here the last months, every window is the same. I'm so tired. Frits, I'm so stressed. I have pain in my back. And many girls have the traumas, have re-experiences. They smell the men while they are sleeping in their dream.
Wow.
And they have so bad rememberings. One time we were talking, sitting somewhere, drinking a cup of coffee, and I click only with my fingers. I don't know why now, but I click with my fingers and she's shocked. There was a man who always told her what she has to do, and then I see he says, when I do this, you go.
So that triggered her.
So that was the trigger.
What percentage roughly of the girls that you work with have pimps or traffickers?
I can find me, I'm not the one from the numbers, etc., but I can find myself
you talk to
in
a lot of girls, I guess.
60%.
60%.
And it's not always that they kidnap her, that they beat her up. He is in his country, in his home country, and she's working here. And when she don't send money weekly, then she can't communicate with her child.
I remember one day we were like talking to one of the girls and we were closing the window, closing the curtain. And she was like 21 years old. But she had a baby with this guy who obviously was making money off her, right? And she called her my boyfriend, but yeah, he was doing nothing and she was making all the money. And she said to me, she's like, I want to run away from this city, but he actually threatened my baby, you know? He threatened that he would do something to our daughter. That was already heartbreaking. But then as soon as we opened the curtains, like these Dutch guys walk by and they're laughing and they're like, oh, look at this whore and that sort of thing. And something in me broke, because I'm like, all they see is like a whore, you know? And well, I'm just seeing this 21-year-old girl who does want to get out of this life, but is afraid that her so-called boyfriend will, you know, do something to their newly born.
Have you ever had any trouble in this area?
But only by words.
Only by
words.
By words, yeah.
Discussion.
There's a lot of cameras around.
A lot of intimidation. This world is only with manipulation, intimidation, fear and money.
There was one woman from Uganda who had been trafficked in prostitution in the Netherlands. And she was locked up in a room and denied food until she complied with being in prostitution. And then they forced her to have sex with all kinds of guys. And they made videos of it. And they said to her, if you run away, we post those videos on the internet. She was a victim of continuous rape. commercial rape.
Nice person.
And this sort of really destroyed her so deeply. And there were many, many other stories. There were women who were not allowed to use condoms of their pimps and who got pregnant and had children and didn't know who the father was. And often it was very difficult for those women to bond.
They actually compared prostitution and human trafficking to a cult, like being in cults, and how hard it is to leave a cult. And it's a very psychological thing, and it has to do with like trauma. It has to do with like, being cut off from family and friends and being trafficked, obviously. I think for a lot of people, they think like, oh, human trafficking is this thing of like this big guy in a little bus that, throws like some poor girl in and drives them to Amsterdam, but the reality is much more complicated. And a lot of the girls that we know, they call their pimp their boyfriend or their husband even. They have a child with their pimp.
Always in Holland it's said like you have the Dutch sex industry that's regulated, that it's clean, part of it, and then you have the world of human trafficking. I realized that the legalization of brothel keeping hadn't brought us anything at all. That trafficking was just going on, and that the world of trafficking and the world of sort of legalized prostitution, they're intertwined.
When I asked that, when a guide is walking around sharing that every girl chooses by herself to work in prostitution, and once she wants to quit, that she can make also her decision. Sometimes I jump in and I ask, okay, did you believe him? And your daughter is standing in that window in her lingerie, smiling to all the thousands who are passing her, watching her body or making jokes over her body. Did you believe this guy that your daughter was choosing by herself for this? Everybody say no. You know your daughter, you know her dreams, you know her stupid things, but this was not her dream.
90% of the women working in prostitution in the Netherlands are brought from different countries.
Actually, legalization of brothel keeping was sort of an invitation for pimps when the borders between Eastern European countries and Holland were opened because of Europe. It was an invitation to them to come over here and set up shop, and which they did in droves.
It is possible here that a girl who comes from East Europe, who lives in a very small village, you don't have a supermarket there, there is not a bank, you don't have a bank card, you have nothing there. The toilet is some wood sides, and then that's a toilet somewhere in the backyard. That's it. And there's nothing. That girl can come here, somebody is helping her, they have some simple questions for you, and in no time you can open your business and you are a prostitute.
We don't have statistics to prove it, but there are prosecutors who think that legalization of brothel keeping only make things worse when it comes to human trafficking.
You think it would reduce trafficking if only Dutch women were allowed to work?
Yes, I think yes, because we live, of course, under the same rules, and when you have girls from different countries, they have different rules. So, but for them is right, is for us wrong, and you cannot tell them because lots of them also do not speak even Dutch. So how are you going to tell them how it works here, right?
I think it shows a lot that most of the girls here are actually from the poorer European countries. Even when the war broke out between Ukraine and Russia, right away there were like human traffickers on
with
the
Ukrainians.
Like on Amsterdam, Amsterdam Central. Even so my parents live in this small village close to Rotterdam, and there were all these women that they and children that they helped in a old elderly center. And 2 weeks into that they were doing that, there were already sketchy guys in cars circling around, and they had to move them because they were human traffickers on the hunt for single mothers who just flew from the war,
Wait, is that how it happens? They so they literally drive around looking for victims?
I mean, it happens a lot with refugees. A lot of guys come in and start to groom the girls and
really?
Yeah.
Prostitution is intrinsically a racist thing. Because if you look in all kinds of countries, you see it's always women of color that are in prostitution. In Holland, the majority of the women in prostitution there, they come from Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
So they're not sort of, women of color, but they're from a part of the world that sort of many people here look down upon. So who worries about these Eastern European women?
What shocked me is that even independent prostitutes still have to deal with pimps.
I have always a battle with the pimps because they come also, because they want that you're gonna work for them. So sometimes.
What do they say? What do they do?
Most of the time, first they come inside as client and they ask you, you have a boyfriend who working and for who you're working and things like that. And after that, they're gonna try if they can make you insecure, do a little threatment,
So they threaten you?
Yes.
How do they threaten you?
In Doetinchem, I had a lot. It was a Turkish man. He was just out of jail for human trafficking. So, and when he come out of jail, he immediately said to me, "You're gonna be my new girl." And he tried a lot, to make me scared, to say that I have to pay him.
Even when you are a girl who is working for herself, you have many street owners, you have many owners of the club. So you're still working.
What do you mean by street owner?
A street owner is you have a street and that gets owned by some person.
What?
And
And
this person
what does that mean?
makes the rules for the street. So every girl should know that there are rules for every kind of street, even this street.
So this is like organized crime, like extortion?
Yes, it is, because they all know. And you have lots of people who are walking in the streets and will always watch you because they are looking for the girls. Because lots of girls, they take money for the rent for the room. This street can say you cannot bring your own stuff. You need to pay us when you want to have your condoms or when you want to have your towels.
And in Den Haag, I had one man. He taking pictures of me behind the window. And then he say, if you don't pay me every day €500, the photos what I take from you, I send to all your Facebook friends.
Yeah, I mean, like threats of violence, threats of blackmail, like that's a real cauldron. Like, how do you, I've asked this question every time, but how do you deal with that? Like most people wouldn't be able to, I don't think.
For me, it was a really hard part of my life because that man said to me, if I send the pictures to your Facebook friends, you don't have any friends left then, because nobody wants to be friends with a whore, with me.
Do you think it's possible to get rid of the pimps?
I think that's very, very hard because it's really international, so it's very big. Very big, You can have people here who work in the streets, but also in different countries and handle the streets. Yes, of course, I have met any pimps. I've also pimps who were trying that I should work for them. But I was always a girl who said, no, I work for myself and you not go and get my money if I can work for myself and I know how the job works. Why do I need you for? They ask a few questions so that they know, are you willingly here? Or is there a possibility that we can take you from here to our place? And lots of girls, they will say you earn more money with us, everything is better with us. So the girls most easily would go, and when they are there, they are trapped because they are in a place they do not know. They are going to say to you, you're going to work with this client, but he is going to give me the money and I give you what I think you should get. So that's where the woman don't handle the money anymore. But where he is handling the money, and then you're gonna lose. Then they're gonna take everything from you.
There was one pimp, he put a knife on my throat because he said that I was saying the wrong words to him. I was rude to him. Yes, and what the hardest part is, I go to the owner to tell him that, and then he said, yeah, but you was rude. So.
Wow.
And still the pimp was walking in the building.
A lot of women, they do use drugs, to kind of get through the experience.
So even while they're working?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's like half of the drugs are legal here anyways,
When the girls are tired, it's very easy to go to them and say, you want a little cocaine because it's easier for you to work this way. And but it's very expensive. And when the girl's working and they give it to her, then after the day she get paid, they take her money and she does not know how many sniffs she had taken. And you never should do it because they will steal your money. How common? I think it happens everywhere in the Netherlands.
I wanted to dig deeper into the backgrounds of women in prostitution and what leads them into it.
I think you can only do that typical kind of work if you're already damaged, because otherwise you cannot do it in your mind.
Trauma plays a tremendous part in many lives of women in prostitution, as does homelessness and as does poverty.
When I was 3.5 years old, child policy took me away from my parents. I traveled around in the Netherlands and been on 27 different places until I was 18 years old.
Like an orphanage? Or
yes, orphanage, okay. Yes, 27 different ones. They always told me it was my fault because I was born and that was the mistake. You want to kill yourself, you go on drugs, a lot of kids do really just do not survive or do never get a home, never get a job. So I can stay there until I'm 18 and then they put me on the street. I found a house that I could rent, but it was really not easy because of my background. So I just could not do what an average person could. So I knew that when I would become 18 years old, I knew I would go to a sex club and would work there.
But you knew before you were 18 that you would go into that?
My mother was a whore, she was a prostitute. So, but she did not do it right. She worked with drugs, with alcohol. She would even do it for a bottle. I did not want to be this way, She was a sick woman. She did not do the stuff right. And I thought I could handle myself.
Do you think for some people it is the only option they have for work?
Yeah.
You do?
Well, even if it weren't the only option, they probably wouldn't do it. So many women, they are in situations where they have no money at all. And they come from extremely poor backgrounds.
When I say I want to have a job at the supermarket, of course I was not allowed because they could see the papers and I could not work there. But I could be a prostitute, they would not look at my papers, they would not look at where I lived, so I could be that.
My mother was not so very kind to me. She always said to me she never wanted me and she wanted to kill me or she wanted to kill herself because I make her life hell because I born. Sometimes she was angry on me and she go and she say to me I gonna jump in front of the train. So say bye to me because I don't come back. And I was very little. I was, I think, 7, 8 years old and I had a little rabbit. So I catch my rabbit on the case and I cut off my rabbit because I was so afraid that my mom never come home again. And also, I was hope she was never come home again because then it was ending, And I had a grandma, she said to my twin sister can live by her because my mother was most of the time more evil to her than to me. So I was happy for my twin sister that she can go live there. And it was almost done and then my grandma died in her sleep. Oh. So then we have nobody anymore who look after us.
So that was like the person protecting you?
Yes, and yeah, she was gone.
That's so sad. I'm sorry. We can take a moment.
So I think, yes, that was... I think when you are little and you notice that your parents are not loving you, then it's hard to love yourself. I think. And to trust somebody. And when the whole time the one person in your life who giving you birth say she wanna kill you, I think that do something with your brains. You're going to split and you go to survival modus. And if you learn that survival modus, then everything in life it's more easier, I think.
So I guess that was a condition that you learned when you were young.
Yes, yes, I think so, yeah. Because when I was young and my mother screaming to us, I always think in my head that I was on a better place. And I also think that when I standing behind the windows, I think I did the same thing.
If you really get to the core, to most of the women's stories, and that's again sometimes takes years and years and years, you will find that none of these women dreamt to be standing here in the Red Light District.
Like the counter argument to that, you know, well, I'm a truck driver, I never dreamed of driving trucks.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do it, it's a job, I make money, big deal.
But do you get PTSS with the severity of war victims when you drive a truck? Or do you get like 98% chance of like, you know, being raped or being beaten?
Because of trauma, they have become a very easy prey for the predators in this world. And because they have a lower self-esteem, and trauma has also this very strange aspect that many people who are traumatized to sort of get into the same situation again. Because that is a situation where they feel safe because they know that situation.
Yeah.
So they'd rather be in a situation that is harmful, but they know it.
Yeah.
Than to try something else because they've been traumatized and they don't trust either themselves or the world anymore to get out of it.
When I was 16 and 17 years old, a friend of mine do photo shoots. And she get money for it, fashion photo shoots, but also lingerie photo shoots. So I was thinking, oh, I wanted to do that also because I want to feel me also beautiful because I was really insecure. I make some contact with some photographers. I have contact with his wife and she opened for me the door. And when I was inside, his wife go and he say, no, we don't gonna do a photo shoot, we're gonna do a porn shoot. And I was so scared that I didn't have the courage to say no. So because I was afraid that he's gonna kill me, because I was thinking, what kind of people are this? We have sex for many hours and I didn't have experience yet. I don't know, I was surviving that hours and I was thinking, what the fuck is happening? And I do everything what he asked because I was afraid. I was happy that I survived that day, but then also I noticed that I didn't have nightmares. So I was thinking maybe that is something for me. Maybe I can try that. So I contact some agencies, but I was 17 years old. So the most of them say, no, you cannot work here. One say, okay, you can start it. Now it's okay, but we have to do it a little bit low profile because you are too young. So then I did a couple of dates by that agency. And when I turned 18 years old, I go to contact a high-class escort for more up level.
Like more ethical, I guess, that don't hire children.
Yes.
How common is it to be underage working here? It's not like a rare thing.
It's not super rare, no, not even in the Netherlands. Now I interviewed a woman a while back and she was underage when she started working in a sex club or like a strip club, and I think she was 16.
How do you feel about the people that, I guess, hired you as an escort when you were underage?
They like it that I was very young and I was afraid. They use me like
it was
a
like
doll.
a selling point.
Yeah, they using me like a doll. Oh, little girl, don't be afraid for the big man.
Well, they said that.
Yeah, things like that.
The main argument for legalized prostitution is that it keeps women safe. For example, all of the windows are equipped with panic buttons. But I wanted to find out what it's really like.
I earned lots of money. I had around 16 clients a day.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was every day. I had lots of clients.
Like, how does it feel doing that?
For me, I like the job. Really, I like the job. I was really a nymphomaniac, so I had really a sex addiction.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to do more, so I could really have sex. But I could talk, I could cuddle, I could do anything.
Yeah.
So, the compliments that the men gave you, the compliments are huge. I mean, they not only call you pretty, they call every word, on the planet, and you just feel like really pretty. You feel that you're doing something good in your job.
And when I work behind window, I work every day, every week, every year. I think I was a little bit dead inside because you cannot have it in your mind to have every day so many clients.
It sounds like a very lonely existence.
Yes. That it was for me, I think. Yes. And then I get more and more depressed, but also you keep on going because you have nothing. I had nothing. I living on a room, a little room. So you keep on going. And also I think it's a kind of self-destruction to keep on going, doing this job. And also when you work behind window, you think everybody looks to you, you are garbage.
We can have a lot of rules. They're hanging on the wall everywhere by the doors. But when the curtains are closed, all the rules are gone. Especially when you need the money. Or you are trafficked. You will cross borders.
Is that just a reality of the job, like rape and violence?
I think when I work behind window, I had that several times on one day. That you say that you don't want anything and then just do it.
Are you serious?
Yes. So, and then when you say again you don't want it, they say give me my money back then because I pay you. So I decide what I wanted. I had that so many times, and especially with men who not cutting the fingers or not washing their hands and they want to stick fingers inside, Then I don't want it, and I push the hands away, and then the violence begin most of the time. And I also have a lot of times that clients rape off the condom, and they come inside me, and I think that's disgusting, but you cannot do anything about it because they are always...
That's also rape.
Yeah, they are always stronger than me,
And so when I'm seeing the girls working in the windows, the reality is that they're being raped daily.
I don't know if that happened also to them. I can only say what happened to me.
Most of the window areas have a panic button.
Yeah.
That's one of the cases they really work with because when the girl's in trouble, of course, she can, push the button, and it's for her normally easy to do. But when a client holds you, then maybe you cannot touch the panic button. So what you are going to do? So in some houses you have people that you just can scream, and they will hear you, and they will come and they will help you. But some places you just do not have a panic button. And those girls are, just when they get in trouble, they try to be very nice. So, when a client wants to do something to me I do not like, I would be very nice talking to him. And slowly I would go outside the room, leave him there, and let another girl or the boss take care of it. So he would leave.
The police will come way too late. So I had a story from one of the women that saw another woman being choked by a client. And they pushed the panic button, and the client just went on and on and on. And if it wasn't for some other guys, to put him down on the ground, she would have died. But the police arrived 30 minutes later.
One time in this street, in Ruisdelkade, I had that one client hurting me a lot, and he won't let me off, and he strangled me. And I push the alarm button, and alarm goes off, and the Romanian girls downstairs think it makes too much noise, and I put them off, because downstairs you can put it off. And I was sitting on a room, and I was hoping that somebody comes to help me, and nobody came.
If you had a daughter, would you be comfortable with her working in prostitution?
Absolutely not.
No.
No. If for every woman, I think you should wish that she would never have to do it in her life. Give her body away just to earn money.
And this is even though you do that job and you're happy?
Even though I do that job and I'm happy, of course I cannot be happy all the time. And there are clients that I would personally not like, but still need to work with, because I cannot say no to this person and yes to that person. I need to work with all of them. So you have always positive and negative sides.
Like, it has given you a good life. I think.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not the life you would have chosen.
Also right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know I'm good at it. I know that the longer I worked, the less it hurts and the more smarter I get and easier to work. Because now I know what they expect from me. Now I know how to talk with them, to not, that I don't need to do anything that I'm not willingly to do. So being nice is one of the biggest things you can do as a sex worker in the job. To
You just said then, the more you do it, the less it hurts.
Yeah, I will never say you get used to it, because when you have a bad client, you will have a bad client, and yes, you will think about it, of course. And of course, you maybe feel filthy or not the woman that you felt before. But when you are knowing that you are doing a good job, when I can handle this client, when I know this girl cannot, he is hurting her, but with me he can work fine. Of course, I take this client away from her and I will work with him, and it gives me a pleasure, because for me it was easy to do.
Well, if that is the achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, I love her for saying that. I think she's great.
She said some incredible things.
She's an amazing woman.
Incredible.
But if that is the achievement, that you make sure that guy is not being abusive towards you, I mean, that says everything about prostitution, doesn't it?
You have to switch the button here so you can do this job.
Yeah, you don't have to do that with many jobs, do you?
I was working in a store. I was there the same as at home or by my friends. That's me. Why you have to change something, to switch something here, to do this work? Another girl told me, when I asked her, I knew her very well, girl, how you can handle it? To be intimate with someone. She said, Frits, I'm a social type. I said, okay, me too. But I'm not standing here in my underwear in the window. So tell me, why? How you are doing that? She said, Frits, it's easy. When I intimate with someone, there is my body. I walk in a supermarket doing my shopping for tonight.
Or they visualize
Yes.
something different. Wow.
Another girl told me, Frits, there is a painting there on the wall. You see that painting? I love the mountains. Always when I go on vacation, I go to the mountains. I'm there in the mountains. There's my body.
I hear like customers or like guys that are coming to girls saying stuff like, yeah, but I have a relationship with her and like this and this and that, or they're in love with their prostitute or whatever. But the reality is, from the girls' side, like you have to kill off your emotions,
Lots of girls, I think, would also not stay for very long in this job, because lots of girls, it's getting to their heads. It's getting mentally. They feel. Most of girls can feel filthy, disgusting about themselves. They cannot choose which guy they can take and which not. So of course, when but you are not there to have those wishes. You can push your button off and just work with every kind of different persons, and I don't know.
Yeah, like the charity I spoke to yesterday, they said most girls will disassociate while they're doing the act.
Yeah, they will.
Like,
yes.
Switch off. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Once it's I think a good thing, because then they can separate their private life from their job.
I wanted to find out if it's even possible to tackle the problems in Dutch prostitution. And if it is, how can it be done?
You can go to a brothel as a police officer and do all the controls. But I mean, usually the women that are being forced into prostitution, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to say, hey, listen, I'm forced into prostitution.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for the police to, get their finger behind it.
Lots of the women also who get raped or used or abused in the places where they are, they go to a police station and police just laugh at you and they say you are a sex worker, so it's your own fault. You ask for it, lots of girls can tell you exact the same story. You ask for it because you're a sex worker. So those girls really do not get protected and even get raped, you know, maybe through the police also. Because
Really?
yeah, lots of women get you know, touched and raped because they are asking for it. They are just, you know, there for anyone. Anyone think they should get a taste of it, no matter how.
Have you heard of police raping girls?
Yeah, of course you have stories of it, yeah. Yeah.
Police in the Netherlands, not every police person is trained to recognize human trafficking and combat human trafficking. And that's something that actually the police force that does fight human trafficking also said in that article that I was talking about earlier. They kind of like rang the bell because they're like, we don't have any grip on what is happening right now in human trafficking.
I was thinking the hardest part is that, you know, when they come to you, they look down on you. Because always when you ask them for help, or when I ask them for help, they always say to me, yeah, you choose for this job. So if you are complaining, why are you sitting here then?
And I can see just from your reaction now how much that hurts when they don't help.
I think the hardest part is that they are the people who have to protect you, and they didn't do that.
I'm sorry.
And they even don't want to listen. And that is what I see over and over again, that they never want to listen. Also, for a few times I be a witness, you know, witness for other girl. And the police come to me if I can make a statement for that other girl. And then even they still a little bit evil. They ask me, yeah, but that colleague of you, are you sure that she works for a pimp? Are you sure that she don't like the job? And I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm too smart, or maybe you are too blind. But look around. How do you think that every girl sitting here is happy? You see us, right? You heard what I say to you.
Do you think the police could be paid by the pimps?
No.
No.
No. No.
Because I just don't understand how someone can
I don't believe
hear
that.
suffering
No,
and ignore it, you know? It's hard to understand.
They don't see us as human beings.
Honestly, I think the Dutch government should be ashamed that they're putting their daughters in the windows, selling them for sex like an animal, you know?
How much does the Dutch government and the Dutch populace know about the exploitation?
They know. Prostitution is a wicked problem. And a wicked problem that is a problem that you can't solve. It's like a waterbed. If you push here, it comes up there.
Yeah.
So it's really, really hard. You have to have a really strong police squad on human trafficking and really work seriously on that. You know, it needs to be a priority. And it isn't in Holland. It has been, but it isn't anymore.
What are the things that you would change?
Immediately I will allow sex workers to get paid to go on different places, sex clubs, streets, everywhere. This woman already know the job. You know, you give them money to go there.
So you would use the prostitutes themselves, like
Yes.
pay them to inspect their bosses, basically.
Right.
We have this system of legalization. So if you're going to be really brutally honest about what's going on in the sex industry, you'll have to change your system.
I don't want that to exist, legal or illegal, yes. Because it's not fair that you let a small group of women do that job.
Let's go back to 2000. Let's go back before. Prostitution is illegal. Now when there is something wrong, we can step in, the police can step in, can do something. Maybe we have to go also to the Nordic model. The client can get the fine, it's forbidden to buy sex.
to make prostitution illegal again, and through the Nordic model.
So criminalize the buyers, not
Criminalize the buyers, not the girls, but the buyers. Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to criminalize the buyers, like they do in Sweden. So you create a sort of an atmosphere which is totally different from the atmosphere here. Here it's sort of normalized.
We have to change something in our society.
Yeah.
Nobody wants his daughter here in a window. So why a daughter from somebody else, it's okay, and we believe it's her decision. So I think we have to change something here. Prostitution is not a normal job.
Before coming to Amsterdam, I expected to highlight how legal prostitution improves the lives of sex workers. Instead, I found an industry where human trafficking, violence, and pimping are normalized, and where the government profits massively from the exploited women. Tens of thousands of vulnerable foreign women are imported, put on display, and sold to Dutch men and tourists, all while the state collects millions from their suffering. I wanted to see how the tourists would react when I told them that at least half of the women in the windows are forced to be there.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
How does that make change how you feel?
Yeah, that doesn't sit well with us at all. But I mean, who would it sit well with?
Yeah.
That fucking blows. That sucks. Actually?
I mean, you can ask them. They're gonna respond in Polish,
Yeah, it's kind of obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty obvious, but I mean, everything's corrupt anywhere, Like, what's gonna stop someone from committing a crime, right? It's the police can, but they don't do anything about it, so...
They need to do more to find it then. You'd hope they speak out if there was a problem, but obviously some people can't.
I think the same way. And that's one of the reasons I won't go into one of those windows.
Well, it is horrible. It's horrible. I thought it's a voluntary thing for, like, at least most of them. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, it is something that needs to be dealt with.
They should maybe invest more in checking that everyone has papers and they're doing it willingly.
I think it's difficult for policemen to handle this business because it's not a casual business. It's not really normal. It is normalized here, but...
Do you think it's good it's normalized here?
I personally don't.
To be fair, I've heard that too, but he's something I'd expect. I don't think any woman would willingly go in there out of their own choice to do that type of stuff.
So you guys look pretty shocked.
I need a drink after that, what the fuck?
What do I do about that information? Like, if I could do something that was immediately available to me, I'd do something.
And it's not on you to do it. So it's like, I don't think you guys should feel guilty.
No, of course, but...
Are we seeing it worse by coming here, though?
Like, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, but...
Like, seeing everything and doing nothing about it. Just talking to the girls.
But it's the same thing, that's hard.
So it's like